Are you ready?
Starting now?
Now you just messed it up, you knob. God, you know that the shit that we go through for this, huh?
I know. Fuckers better appreciate it. When we started, we were just like, yeah, we're just going to do this, man. You know, shoot our wad into the wind and see what happens. What's the title of this podcast again?
I don't know. I don't know. Something with a penis, I guess.
Right.
Our fucking faces are everywhere now.
Right.
You know, but
You're welcome, ladies.
Right. Popular with the ladies. Right. Oh, I'm not even going to apologize because hopefully it sounds fucking hilarious.
Yeah, totally. This is fucking explicit now.
The explicit button. Let me use my finger.
La, 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 la.
It is time for another episode of Sober, Not Mature. And that episode starts now. All right, everyone. Welcome once again to another episode of Sober, Not Mature. And first of all, Mike, why did you show up tonight? Didn't you have like a long day? Aren't you like wiped out or something? I mean, I'm just kind of wondering. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I know. I did. Well, actually, it wasn't completely long. It was only about 9.5 hours. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
one of my shorter days, which we'll get to. Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, we'll end up getting to that in a couple of minutes. So yeah, we were supposed to have a guest tonight. I kind of posted on it this morning. We will talk about it, but we're going to get, just like we start off our mornings and like we've been starting off these episodes. Right. We're going to get somebody else's positive words and roll them around in your head first. So if you got your book, might as well get that reading out of the way. I don't mean out of the way. That's a bad way to put it. Let's get that fucking reading out of the way.
Get this shit out of the way, man.
I apologize. Let me step back. Mike, how about let's do our positive reading for the evening?
Let's do that. All right. Well, yes, we do have a topic on our mind, and I wasn't planning on doing a reading tonight.
Right.
Right. But so, I sat down and was flipping through some of the dog-eared pages, and this one jumped out at me, and I thought I would share it with everyone. This is July 18th. It's from God Grant Me, as usual. Just want to point that out. All right. July 18th. Facts do not cease to exist because they are ignored. Aldous Huxley, one of my favorite authors. Let's see. This is a hard concept for us addicts to get. We believed avoidance was a form of self-care. Our illness depended on our ability to deny its existence. Only when we were bleeding out of every pore of our body were we willing to admit that maybe there was a slight problem. We were afraid of the facts. To face the facts meant dealing with betraying our illness. It meant admitting we were lost and in need of help from others. Recovery, from step one on, is about confronting our issues straight on. We take personal inventory a lot in order to break through our denial and bond with the truth. We face, directly when possible, the people we have hurt because the fact is that we have hurt many, and we have a responsibility to try to help heal those wounds. We do these actions, we watch ourselves become stronger. Our confidence, not arrogance, grows. Do we always like facing the facts? No. But our lives aren't based only on feelings anymore. They are based on doing the next right thing. Prayer for the day. Higher power, with your help and guidance, I can break through my wall of denial. Show me the things I need to face. Today's action, because this is a program of action. This is an action that we will not do. Sometime during the day, I will sit down and make a list of issues I am avoiding. I'll commit to talking with my sponsor about what is on the list.
So one of the issues we're avoiding is not taking the action.
Right.
from our readings. No, but and like I told you, I think it was last week that I told you that I started reading all of those, and I'm still doing that. And some of them jump out at me, and there's one that I wrote down that I've got a note on it. We'll get back to it,
Okay.
but yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. Some of the things are, I don't know, as I read them, I'm like, I kind of it's opening my head a little bit more, which is not a bad thing, because it does make me think just for another couple of split seconds in the morning, But on top of that, I don't remember what the action was, any of the two, because in Scott Grant me a Keep It Simple, they have the actions in
Right.
them.
Right.
I don't remember what they were, but I think it was from this morning that I wrote down the Keep It Simple one. But I think about it, I'm like, I end up doing that on a daily basis. So if nothing else makes me think backwards, kind of like, have I done that over the last couple of days, or do I normally do that? So it's been a good thing to read them. I mean, honestly. So, I'm glad we had that conversation when I sort of called you out. And
honestly, I am paying more attention to them the past couple of weeks.
Isn't that fucked up how this thing works, huh?
I know.
Because, I mean, how many, I can't think of all the things, actually any other thing, but there's been plenty of times in this last year and whatever it's been, a couple of months or months since we started this thing, that we said that now that we're doing this, we do this again, or this comes to light, or we're paying more attention to things. So, I mean, this is having and thankfully, again, the end result is, thankfully we think it's reaching other people. We know it's reaching some, but it's doing what we intended it to do to begin with, is help us, that's a good thing.
Right. Yep, exactly.
So that reading, I kind of scribbled down. I always got my sheet of paper with my typed out notes on it, but from when you were just reading that, I wrote down 3 things: face things, take responsibility, because responsibility was in there again, and then confidence, not arrogance. I actually liked all 3 of those.
Right.
But I think that, I mean, that reading was basically saying that, the responsibility thing we talked about last week, but facing things is never an easy thing. But the one that really jumped out at me, which is towards the end, was obviously the confidence versus arrogance, because that could be a tough one.
Yeah, it's it's like most of these things. It's finding that balance.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
but I know what you're saying, and it's tough to, when we're walking through our day, and yeah, we feel better, we are better, we know we are, and that definitely instills confidence. I'm certainly far more confident than I was 13 years ago.
Right.
Yeah, and I think, in a weird way, I'm more confident and I'm less arrogant.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know how the hell that worked, but because God knows I didn't have anything to be arrogant about 13 years ago, but I was pretty fucking arrogant.
Right. Well, and I think part of it is that, I mean, the confidence is, because I've talked to a lot of different people about it. I mean, it's been family members, it's been, people like you, and, I mean, I've got a ton of female friends, and, people I've actually spent time with in a, whatever you want to call it, a relationship level. And, I mean, I talk about that quite a bit, that I'm not afraid, to ask questions anymore. I'm extremely confident I'm happy with who I am, and as a person. I may not be perfect, whatever it is, whether I've got the perfect job, whether I have, the perfect amount of money, or the perfect car, or, the perfect physique, or whatever the fuck it is, but
right. None of the above, but right.
But I mean, I'm not, I know who I am, and that if other people, dig that, that's cool. If they don't, then fine. I mean, it doesn't bother me, but that's, that I think that's that confidence. And I think the lack of arrogance is because we're aware of how we act maybe these days. So I think maybe that's it, just that awareness. But yeah, I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Well, again, like you said, taking the inventories that we take, we actually look at ourselves and see ourselves for exactly what we are today. Not that made up shit in our head that we believed was true.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, we actually know what's kind of going on around us, and good and bad.
Right. Walking walking the walk, actually, instead of just talking the talk, as they say, right?
Mm-hmm.
But no, I like that one, and that yeah. Again, it's as you read that, I'll probably say this almost every week. It seems like it was the first time that I've ever heard that, but I probably read it.
Right, but clearly you've read it at least over 10 times.
I was going to say, yeah, probably. I was
Yeah.
going to say 9, but I think you're right. Probably 9 or 10 times. But yeah, absolutely. But the other thing too, along with and I wrote this note down is towards the end of the day and stuff like that, because and we talked about it too, that the podcast now is kind of how our Friday meetings used to be, and
Absolutely.
I always did a Friday meeting when I was in Cleveland. When I first moved
Mm-hmm.
back to Madison, I did, but then with traveling, I got away from the Friday meeting because I was out of town,
Mm-hmm.
And even when I went back to the Germantown area, when I was working to begin with, again, by the time I left work and stuff, I'd miss, I wouldn't be in time for that. It was a 5:30 meeting. But
Right.
then when I was out of work for a period of time, I went to meetings every day. But the
Mm-hmm.
thing of it is that as I thought about it tonight is because it's been, and I thought about it, this is so stupid. I was off on Monday because of, I was up and we went up to Appleton for Ollie's thing, which I do want to kind of recap too.
Sure.
But I knew I wouldn't be home late, and I figured, fuck it, I'm going to take the day off, hang out,
Yeah.
get some stuff done on the web store and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I only worked 4 days, but I still have, and I think what it is, I think I have a mild sinus infection, so I've got this thing that's hanging on. So I'm like physically tired, and
Right.
mentally tired. Got a mild headache here and there every once in a while, and I was just like, man, I'm fucking wiped out. But when we sit down to do this, and I remember sitting
Mm-hmm.
down in a meeting, whether it was in Cleveland or when I was in Mequon or when I was in Madison, it's like all the stress and everything. The minute I sat in that chair at the meeting, it's like everything kind of melted away,
Mm-hmm.
And that same thing happens here, which I think is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I think that says something about what we're doing because I don't know, at least for me, it brings back, it's that, no better way to put it. It's almost that happy place,
Right.
to be able
Exactly.
to sit down and do this thing is cool. So,
Yeah. Well, and getting out of our own heads.
right. Right. Yeah. It is weird as whether it's a work thing or whether anything else is going on in, in my
Mm-hmm.
life or in my head. I don't think about it for this hour. And quite honestly, it's after I'm done, as I'm putting all this stuff together and I'm real happy about, getting the episode put together. And
Mm-hmm.
so usually on a Friday night for probably a good 3 hours, I don't think about life.
Nice.
Yeah, and I don't mean that in a bad way because I
No,
mean
of course not.
I don't have
Great.
I don't have a bad life, but I mean, there's just like anything else, man. There's
Yeah.
stresses with everyone and
Day-to-day
everything.
grind,
So.
man. It's just what I believe it's life on life's terms.
Yeah, I don't know, where have I heard that before?
I
mean,
don't know. It's someplace.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it was here like 17 times or 17,000 times.
Yep.
But yeah, so it was good, and yeah, I was thinking about it too with you. With you're actually back on your. I didn't think about it last week, but now you actually get to have your pizza on a Friday night again, which is cool.
I do. Yeah, it's been 3.5 years.
Right.
Yeah. Still got it every week at the end of my work week, but yeah. So now it's officially on Friday again.
Well, and I like the way you put that because you had brought that up because we had talked about that in one of the earlier episodes. The 3 things, obviously, with the pizza being one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you had said that with your schedule is always at the end of your work week, which
Right.
could have been any. I mean, as you were traveling, doing whatever on a Thursday, whether it's a Friday, but yeah, just that typical thing. So, but yeah, I wolfed down my pizza again, and I'm like, I could do this. Because I left, actually logged off at it's 4:30 or a few minutes after, which gives me, again, plenty of time to order, go pick it up, and sit down and eat, but not have to. I still eat too fast. It doesn't fucking matter.
We'll blame Marty for that.
Yeah, I know. But, the funny part is I think I've done that. I've done that since I was a kid, and I figured it out years ago. It was probably because, as kids, I mean, we were all just playing outside afterwards. You get called in for dinner, especially in the summertime, do your dinner, and then you get to go out and play again. So, and, it's just gotten to the point. I enjoy good food. I love fine restaurants. If I go to one, I love really good food. But, it's kind of like at times it's like, well, I just got to fuel myself.
Right.
Is all I have to do. So. So the other anything else on that reading? I mean, I thought that was a good one. Those were the three things that
Yeah.
I kind of picked out of it. But anything else on that reading in general, or no?
No, just showing up, taking responsibility, honoring your commitments.
which again, we're gonna we'll pause on that for one more second because I want to, before I forget, I want to read this action that was in Keep It Simple.
No, right.
So, and this may have been from today. Actually, I think it was because I actually wrote it down and I printed this stuff last night. So, the action for today in the book, Keep It Simple, which is one that I've been reading for a while, and you've been reading for what, a year now, I think?
Yeah. I'm
Okay.
on my second, whatever. Yeah. So, I'm, what is this, March, whatever the hell it is. Right. So 3 months into the second time around.
March, whatever the hell this is. Yeah, that's what day it is.
Yep.
But so in just a quick side note, these are the books that we don't talk about this enough, but I don't think. But all these Hazelden books, God grant me, Keep It Simple. One day or a day at a time that I read 24 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
The big book,
Right.
all those are available. They're on our website. So if anyone is looking for these things that we're reading, they are available. They are for sale. I mean, granted, yes, you got to buy it, but we have them. So, but this one's from Keep It Simple. It says, "Today I'll list all of my enemies. I will say their names, then read the list out loud. Or I'm sorry, read the third step out loud."
Right.
So listing all your enemies, saying their names out loud, and then or saying their names and then reading the third step out loud. So as I was reading this, first of all, I'm watching this show called Succession on HBO, and there was a part in this thing where it's a huge long story. It's coming up on a new season, so I'm getting caught up. But one of the family members who was kind of going against the rest of the family members showed up at their annual board meeting, and they're kind of like under this investigation for this sexual harassment or whatever it is. So the one family member ends up just popping up on stage and starts reading off the names of these people that were like sexually harassed in front of this whole shareholders meeting, right? And I just watched this thing last night, so this is what I'm thinking of as I'm reading this, but I'm like, that's kind of fucked up. But then my next thought is enemies. I mean, do you have, right off the top of your head, could you make a list of, I mean, a true enemy? You know what I mean?
Right. You know what? I read that this morning. And same thought, man. You know what? I don't have anybody to put on that list.
Right.
I don't. Nope. I have no enemies. I have people that I don't particularly care for, and guess what? They're not in my life anymore. No, my life right now. There is no one. If you're in my life, you're in my life for a reason, and if you're not in my life, you're not in my life for a reason. Nope, I have absolutely no enemies. One of my fleet managers at work, I'm not particularly fond of, and I do have to deal with him. But I would not call him an enemy.
Right.
We work together. And even when I'm dealing with him and he's not holding up his end of the bargain, I'm still doing the next right thing. I'm keeping my side of the street clean when I'm dealing with him, so that doesn't engender itself to being an enemy. I don't allow that in my life anymore. Yeah.
And you know what? That's the reason I wrote it down, because and I'm glad that you feel. I quite honestly, I thought you'd say the same thing, but I've never thought about it. I haven't thought about it.
Right.
I don't think the entire time that I've been sober. So it literally it blew my mind. I mean, once again, like you just said, people, and I've named off and we've talked about like my boss and things like that. Certain people I work with piss me off.
Sure.
All these different things,
right?
But even somebody who, like my boss, for instance, has the ability to, and has, in my opinion, financially, can affect my life in a negative way. I still I don't consider him an enemy. I don't even hate the guy. I don't like him. I don't like him one bit. I don't like his business practices. I don't like the way he, attempts to manage people. I don't like any of that. But I don't hate him, and he's sure as fuck not an enemy.
Right.
It blew my mind. I'm like, same thing you just said. I'm like, I don't have anyone to put on the list.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's nobody in my life that I would work up the energy to try to intentionally hurt today.
Right.
Yeah. Which is pretty cool.
I know, and seriously, it was like this mind blowing revelation when I read it like a couple of times. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
and I sat there, and this morning, like you said, when I
Mm-hmm.
read it this morning, I'm like, really? It
Mm-hmm.
not that I was searching for an enemy, I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't, but it just completely blew my mind. But
Right.
yeah, it was great. It was absolutely
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I kind of was searching, I mean, I read that and I was like, is there anyone? And I did kind of try to run through. Is there anybody I'd really like to fuck up? And nah, nobody.
Right. Yeah, I literally did the exact same thing. I'm like, no, I don't like that person. I don't like that person.
Mm,
Even, you think back at even, a couple years ago or whenever it was, and, people who we felt, and I'll say, the quote unquote wronged by, I'm
mm,
like, yeah, no, people jacked me up a couple of times, but I mean,
mm.
not to that point where I put them on a list. I don't want to see anything bad happen to these people.
No,
And I mean, that's what an enemy would be, right? I mean, I,
exactly. Yeah. Someone
I,
I want to intentionally hurt. No, there's no one. I don't have that in me anymore. Back when I was drinking and using, there were a lot of people I would have loved to hurt and
right,
did, intentionally. There's certainly, a lot of people that I hurt unintentionally, and that still happens occasionally. And that's where I get to go, oh fuck, and try to fix it. But yeah, intentionally hurt someone because of some wrong, real or imagined. I think that's in a book somewhere.
right.
Um, yeah, some slight to me, real or imagined. It just doesn't. It's not a part of my life today.
Right.
It's really fucking cool.
I know, and that's why I wanted to bring it up because
Mm-hmm.
it was
Glad you
I thought
did.
it was pretty cool. But and the other thing too, like you said, imaginary or however I you just said it and I can't remember what you said. What was
Real
that
or
again?
imagined.
Yeah, of course I couldn't remember the real part.
Right.
So yeah, real or imagined. But that goes back to like the justifiable anger thing.
Mm-hmm.
That I mean, and we'll get on to what we're not real happy about, but
Mm-hmm.
and I thought about that last night with that whole thing, is the
Mm-hmm.
justifiable anger. And then I read this thing about enemies, and I'm like, wow, this is
Right.
just kind of weird. We don't really have. We're told we shouldn't, but we're also told that it could affect us if we have that type of thing. Let those things
Mm-hmm.
fester. It's the
Mm-hmm.
little things. People drink and use and relapse over the little things. It's not usually the big
Absolutely.
things, not
Mm-hmm.
always, but
Mm-hmm.
it's these little things that just all of a sudden people are like, "Fuck me," and
Right.
then boom.
And then fuck
So
it.
yeah, fuck it, fuck
Yep.
them, fuck everyone else.
Yep.
As people say, "Fuck my life," and then they go fuck up their life.
Uh-huh.
So. But yeah, I don't know. That was just it was really interesting, and I figured we'd be on the same page. But yeah, I'm glad we
Mm-hmm.
had a chance to talk about that because again, just it still fucking mind blowing, just
Yeah,
fucking mind blowing.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. The vindictive, hateful motherfucker that I was, I'm not anymore.
Right? Yeah, exactly. And
Yep.
that's the thing too that always just when you said that vindictiveness is one thing. Always wanting to get back at somebody, but
Mm-hmm.
always wanting something in return. Think about all the things
Mm-hmm.
that we do for people now, or would be more than happy to do with somebody or for
Mm-hmm.
somebody with
Right.
no expectation.
Right.
Um, what do you want from me? I don't want anything, man. I just want to help you.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
a total change. Even if
Right.
it was something along the lines of I'm going to go help somebody move, and I know there's going to be pizza and beer at the
Mm-hmm.
end,
Mm-hmm.
which was, that was the quote unquote reward.
Sure.
But like when we cleaned out Mom's house the
Mm-hmm.
other, a few weeks ago, whenever it was, Kathy and I ordered pizza, for
Mm-hmm.
everyone.
Mm-hmm.
They were thankful and they were grateful for it. I know
Sure.
for a fact nobody was sitting back and thinking that, oh, you better fucking feed us,
Right.
I mean, people couldn't even make a decision on what they wanted to eat, for God's sakes, let alone that they were waiting for us to feed them. But I mean, these are all like good, genuine people. We had
right. Normal people.
we had to go through a process.
Yes.
to be this way. So I don't know. It's a good thing. All right. So let's rather than I don't have any desire to, necessarily bash the individual or even use the individual's name. So let's pick a fictitious or a fictional name. Your choice. Any name you want, because I want to use a name rather than saying this individual.
How about Richard?
Okay, Richard. I thought you were going to get something more fun than that, but that's fun in and of itself.
Yeah, come on, man.
Does he go by Dick, or do we call him Dickie?
He might.
Can we call him Dickie?
Little Dickie.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Little Dickie. So, but anyhow, the whole point here is we had a guest that was scheduled to begin with. Was that had to have been January, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, the original email was because I look back because I still got it because just in case I wanted to like look his shit up, you know, to be prepared. And it was like December. I think they originally contacted us. I think before I went to Mexico.
Oh yeah, it was probably early December because we wanted to get through we had a plan. November and December was just you and I because of the holidays and with your Mexico trip and all that. So yeah, you're right. So that was the other thing too, and just kind of to step back a little bit, there was a time and a couple of times when we actually posted on Instagram and said, "Hey, we're looking for guests," and had some people reach out to us. And a few of the people that I could think of, we got Gio from that effort, Travis, both of the ones that wrote books, and both of those are on our SoberNotMature website page and on the sponsor page. So on our podcast page, you guys could look up their books. Both wonderful people. Yep. I think there was one or two other people. That we got out of that, but and then every once in a while we've been basically contacted out of the blue. We usually try to get some information, and so Little Dickie, and
Little Dickie,
well, it was actually Little Dickie's assistant. So okay, let's think of another fictional name. What's Little Dickie's assistant's going to be?
Pussy Galore.
Okay, so P Galore.
Yep.
Miss P Galore. So anyhow, this assistant reaches out to us and says, "Hey, we've been listening to you guys," and it was kind of almost like a reach around type of email, kind of.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it was this whole thing because it kind of threw me off for a minute. You guys are badass. You guys speak our language. All these different things, and I'm just
yeah.
And I questioned it. And just like, why do you want to come on? What do you have to talk about? Have you listened to us? This and that. So all these things came back. And as I looked it up, I was kind of looking, what's the agenda? And it's fine if somebody has an agenda. Sure. And because both you and I always talk about these things, and we have the right to say no if we don't agree with the topic, the agenda, what they're for. And we have, we said that how many times?
Oh yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah, there's been several that we said no, thanks, but no thanks.
Right. It's cool, but whatever. We wouldn't be a good fit. So finally agreed to it, got it set up. I think it was set up towards the end of January after all was said and done.
Sounds right.
And ended up, it was the same thing. It was like Wednesday or Thursday. The Little Dickie ended up getting sick, I guess, and Pussy Galore. I got
Ms. Galore.
Ms. Galore had contacted us and said, "I'm like, hey, feel better," and I'm like, "We'll reschedule." And whatever it was, the month of February was blown for. Oh no, we were all scheduled through February, so it was the end of March would have been today. So what I do, and I remember when I started doing it, and this, but so everyone else knows, on the Sunday, usually Saturday or Sunday prior to the week a guest is going to be on. So like we've got a guest scheduled for next Friday. I will contact that person on Saturday or Sunday. And simple. We still good to go? If we are, let me know. This is the deal again. Blah, blah, blah. I usually ask them for a little write-up, picture that they want us to use as far as a promo, and go from there. And then I'm like, because I'm going to start promoting on Monday. So by all means, I don't want to promote people if they're not going to, and I would understand, but I give them a week.
Sure.
So got to go ahead, last weekend. So we start promoting. And then I get an email on Thursday. So yesterday morning. I didn't tell you about this one because it was no big deal. Miss Galore, Ms. She just emailed and said, "Hey, when are you going to send the link? How do you guys work that?" And I'm like, typical thing, 5-10 minutes before, blah, blah, blah. This is this. Recapped everything. All good to go. He'll be there. And then I'm sitting there eating dinner last night, and I saw the email. I saw an email come through, and I just, swiped down on it and saw the preview, saw it was from Ms. Galore, and then hate to do this, but, and I started reading, and I'm like, fuck me. I put my phone down, finished eating, and then read it. And then that's obviously when I had texted you. So the email was, it was his wife. It was Ms. Dickie, Ms. Little Dickie. Apparently Miss Little Dickie had apparently emailed Ms. Galore and said that this podcast thing's not going to work out. Little Dickie is going to be working from 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. And then if Little Dickie's got to do the podcast, is going to be wiped, by the time he gets on there.
Right. Poor thing.
I know. And then the first thing I thought about is, this is coming into, you've got longer days than I do. Like you said, a 9-hour day is one of your shorter days. Because what's your normal day look like on a
normal day is, I leave the house about 5:30, and if I'm lucky, I'm home by 6. Sometimes 7, sometimes 8. Yeah, just depends, man. Being a truck driver is not easy.
Right. And, I usually start, getting into, I obviously work well for everyone. I think everyone knows, but I work remotely, but I log in, to work, usually start logging in about 7:30 in the morning.
Right.
I work basically, I'm done at 5, maybe quarter after type of thing. I eat dinner and then I work on either this stuff or Instagram or the web store, which again, all things that are my choice. I'm not stuck in a truck all day like you are. I would never try to compare, that type of workload that I have, but I put in time, after all said and done. Long days one way or the other. But so that was my first thought. More so on your end than my end. But then my second thought was I reach out, I do all this planning. And on top of that, I promote and right away I told Kathy, got home right after that, and I told her, and she's like again, because she knew that they had canceled before,
right? Sure.
And then I said yeah, but then I said I don't know. I said my first thought was, I'm like, fuck it, man, done, and she's like, well, doesn't he have kind of a big following, a big reach? And I said, yeah, but I said, I'm going to reach out to Mike. I'll take his direction, because people have heard it happen. I won't say live, but let's call it live on this podcast. When I've asked you a question, I had a thought one way, you've said something different, and I've agreed with you, and done. So I take your advice. But you and I talked back and forth, and I think you said somewhere along the same line, didn't you? When I texted you, I kind of gave you the rundown, and then your response was,
I'm actually looking at it.
Oh, you are? Okay.
I believe, you said, I think I should tell him to kindly fuck off. And my response was, of course, my first thought is to kindly fuck off too. But doesn't this pussy, I wasn't speaking of his assistant, who gets tired after a 7-hour day with, I'm sure, an hour lunch in there, have a fairly large following. I don't know. Never looked anyway. I said, do you think we should give him another chance? And you basically said no.
Well, and the other thing that I thought about, and I just threw and both of us had our thoughts of, fuck off, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And, I had two main thoughts was basically not that we have a lot of integrity, but
Right.
well, we have a little bit of
We
integrity.
got a little bit today.
Yeah. And, just with when when I promise something and you promise something and we
Mm-hmm.
together promise something, I I would hope people expect it to happen, So that
Right.
was my thought. It's like we keep doing this. Maybe it's a question of can we even organize people? Are we going to have trouble getting people on because they're like they don't
Mm-hmm.
even know how to schedule guests? But then this goes back to very very early sobriety with us, and
Mm-hmm.
that feeling of if we have to force this, is it even worth
Mm-hmm.
it? You know?
Right. Yeah, that's when you said that to me in the text, I was like, yep, you're right. You're absolutely right. Because I was trying to like, well, this guy's kind of a swinging dick, and maybe, it would help us move this little thing along. Maybe we should try, and that was it. You said if we're starting to force it, man, it's not worth it. And I went, fuck, yep, you're right.
Right.
Absolutely. Yep.
Well, and you know what? I've taken that. I know what it feels like, and with me, it was more I was irritated this time, not that nervousness
Mm-hmm.
when I was trying
Sure.
to push something, But you're the one. You said that to me. I don't know, countless number of times over the
Mm-hmm.
years, because usually I'm the one trying to push shit.
Mm-hmm.
But it just when I thought about it, I'm like, man, because I thought about the same thing, and then the side thought that I had afterwards is that I thought back to like when we had Christine on and some of the other people that have told us the same thing is that the 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 community group of people, followers,
Mm-hmm.
however you want to call it, listeners,
Mm-hmm.
all of you guys out there that follow and listen to us,
Right.
we've got a really solid, loyal group compared
Mm-hmm.
to a lot of podcasts.
Right.
We're not huge at all
Mm-mm.
from on a podcast level, from a Instagram level, even, whatever it is, we've got 47, 4,800, I don't know, 4,500, 42, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a decent follower base, but we're not in the 50s and the 60s and 100,000 followers and things like that.
Sure.
You know, but then I thought about it, I'm like, I don't want to. I'm sure I have a price. I don't know what it is yet, but that's not it.
Right.
And I'm
Mm.
not willing to. I don't want to sell. I don't want to sell this little thing that we built out.
Right.
For that.
Yeah.
And it's tough though because I thought the same thing, and I don't know. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, he doesn't have a huge Instagram following, but it sounds like he's probably very well known. Maybe he could have done a
Mm-hmm.
lot for us. Maybe not. Maybe he would have came on and been a fucking jag off and
Right.
caused us nothing but heartache. I don't know. You know, because because that was the other thing that I was kind of thinking of. The reason I
We'd
was
have to
questioning.
make a list.
Right. We would then have a list. But when the reason
Damn.
I was questioning so much is because when I started looking how public this guy was, and that's why I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, what's the agenda? Why us? It seemed
Right.
weird.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
but I was fine with it, because
Sure.
maybe they see that even though we're small, we've got a maybe people see the same thing, see exactly what it is or what we are is that
Mm-hmm.
we're a couple of relatively genuine people with a really good
Right.
loyal following,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe that's important to some people, so it's important to
Right.
us, I know that much, but
Yeah. Right.
so
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it could have been, somebody in his, because apparently he has an organization, and yeah, you know, Little Dickie Incorporated there. Uh, yeah, it could have been, somebody within there had found us and dug us, and, maybe pushed him, and he just, I'm sure he didn't listen
right,
to us. And yeah, whatever, man.
right,
Have fun. Good luck. Hope you help somebody.
yeah.
Yeah.
And from what it sounds like, and taking away all this stuff, because this is really not, it's not about us today. We had talked about that,
Mm-hmm.
last week and stuff like that. And even though we were, had these our fictitious and fictional names, Little Dicky and Ms. Galore, which I made
Mm-hmm.
me laugh. I had fun with that. I hope other people enjoy it too. But the bottom line is that just like the same thing as the individual on Instagram that's trying to take away the word alcoholic, that
Mm-hmm.
individual is helping people. I know that
Sure.
person's doing good work. I think
Mm-hmm.
that Little Dickie's doing some good work out there.
Sure.
And if it's not our fit, that's fine. I just didn't like the way it was handled. and I don't understand why somebody would commit twice and then back out like that. It just doesn't, it didn't sit well,
Right.
So,
yeah, exactly.
But
once shame on you, twice shame on us.
Yeah. But I'm just, it also, it makes me feel good. And that maybe goes back to that integrity thing a little bit that, we value what we have enough to be able to say, you know what? No, I don't care how big you are. Fuck you. Go away. I mean, and that sadly a little bit feels really fucking good. It feels really fucking good.
Right.
So
confidence, not arrogance.
I know. That was a little bit of arrogance though.
Yeah, I know. Trying to coast on your bullshit just a little bit.
Oh, you did a good job, but I'm not going to let you do that one. I'm not going to let you fall into my trap on that one. You know what though? On that note, why don't we take a little breather here? Take a break. How's that?
Why don't we? All right. Well, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about some other stuff, some better stuff. So stick around. We'll be right back after this word from our sponsor.
Hey everyone, it's your friends at Sober Not Mature.
Hi there.
Yes, it's both of your friends this time. Hi Mike, how are you?
I'm well. How are you, Bill?
I am doing well, but we do have a purpose. We actually usually talk about our one website, but we actually have two websites now. So two websites in one. All right, so everyone knows we still have the podcast website that is www.SoberNotMature.com. And we just launched the store website, so we also have that. Do you know what the website address is on that one, Mike?
Of course I don't.
It's pretty easy, Mike. It's www.SoberNotMatureShop.com. So but from the podcast website, you can still hit the store link and get into the web store, or you can access it from our Instagram page through the highlights. We've been posting quite a bit about it, and we'll continue to do that. But do you know what's on the second website, Mike?
Well, there's a store. There are products that you can purchase for you and your loved ones.
Well, Mike, do we still have merchandise?
We have merchandise. Well, we got T-shirts and coffee mugs and all kinds of crap.
And one of the coolest parts, we also do have all the recovery books from Hazelden, which is kind of a big deal.
That is a big deal.
Yeah, at least for us. So all the books that we read, God Grant Me, 24 Hours, the Big Book, the 12 and 12, all of those books are available for sale on our website. And once again, that store website is www.sober.
Trying to help, man.
I know you are. You're not helping though. Okay, now I got to say www.SoberNotMatureShop.com. .com. Visit that today, or visit the podcast website, which is, again, the podcast website. So
www.SoberNotMature.com.
Did you just say sober but not mature?
Yeah, sure. Write that down.
Yeah, like fucking mush mouth or something. All right, everyone. You've suffered enough with this, and we'll get back to what we were talking about previously. So visit the websites, though. All right, welcome back. Shake off that shit and let's get on to something more important. I was thinking though too that we need to take a moment at some point in the relatively near future. We should update that our website promotion just to include the coffee in there. Not that it's a big deal, but it might not hurt to have it in there. The whole point is people are going to find us one way or the other. I hate to. Part of me is like, fuck it, man. They'll see the coffee when they get there, but because I like that promo so much.
Well, and part of it is, you're a coffee head and you're trying to get everybody else addicted, just like you are.
Right. Well, the thing of it is that I've been joking with some of the people, but completely serious. I'm like, there's no hidden agenda here. I mean, I'm being completely open and honest. We're offering discounts. I've offered free coffee to some of the people very close to us, people that we deal with on Instagram, and family members and stuff like that, because I know well enough that first of all, I've tried 18 different varieties of this coffee because I had all the sample packs. They're these little
Right.
packets, so I got all the flavored ones.
So would you do that in what, about an hour and a half?
No, it's actually I can get 2 pots of coffee out of 1 pack. So literally that I would have between morning and afternoon, because obviously I'm here working. I go through the 2 8-cup pots of coffee. So it took me 9 days, or I'm sorry, 18 days, to go through. I was going to say 9 days. No, I wasn't 9, but it was. So one of those
9
packets,
hours.
one of those packets per day to go through those. And
Nice.
Obviously we had the coffee was already up on the website before I started tasting it. But I enjoy it, and I know well enough that people like it. Granted, it's our coffee's it's priced higher than what you get in the grocery store, but it's fresher, it's better, tastes better, all those sort of things. So try it out, And I've got, if I don't have an out of the way type of promotion, we've got a $5 off thing. Just the promo code is just coffee
Promo
sale. That gets you $5 off any of the coffee items. So whatever.
Sweet.
Try it.
Go.
Try it.
Yep.
But
Try it.
yeah, so one way or the other. I mean, again, the promo I think is just so fun, but I don't really want to do it, but I don't want to change it, but we probably should.
Speaking of people ordering coffee, I had to bring this up. I talked to Chris earlier today, and her son ordered some.
Really?
So did you send some down to an Air Force base in Southern Illinois?
Illinois. What's his first name?
Cameron.
Yes. There was a Yeah. Because it was and this would have been, probably a month ago.
I don't know. Yeah. Probably. I don't know. And apparently, and I promise I'd give him a shout out, because apparently Cameron's been listening to every one of these episodes.
Nice.
This is his Saturday routine when he's cleaning the house. He puts in the old earbud things and listens to us ramble.
Awesome.
So hi, Cameron.
Yeah, hi, Cameron. First of all, hello, welcome. Thanks for listening. And and the reason I asked the name is we haven't had like a whole ton of orders, but I see the names come through, and I knew we had an order in Illinois, but I can't. Sometimes there'll be, again, random names that I don't know. Some of the even there's people that I interact with on Instagram that I know their Instagram handle, but I don't know their names. So, but yeah, I think that would have been about a month ago. So, hey, if it's Cameron, if it's been a month ago, you're probably running out. But no, you know what? Talk to us later. I'll give you a discount code if you want to order something
there
else.
You go.
So,
hit up Bill on Instagram. Anyway,
just email me. I'll give you an extra discount code. So
cool.
But yeah, that's cool.
And speaking of which, people listening, so we had the fundraiser last week, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and it was really good. We had a great turnout, good time, good food, and food was really good, man. Marty kicked ass on that.
Really?
And so anyway, so I'm there, and I'm seeing some people I haven't seen in a while, because there was this pandemic thing. So I mean, there were some people I hadn't seen in 3 years, and I'm bopping around and talking to folks and whatever, and apparently quite a few people are listening to us.
Really?
I was like out of the blue, like people I wasn't really expecting, and people I hadn't seen in a while. And I walked up and I was talking to a couple of guys I hadn't seen in a while, and they were like, one of them was like, "Hey man, I really dig the podcast." And he started telling the other guy about it. And, we were kind of generally talking about podcasts and stuff, but I got a lot of nice feedback at the fundraiser about us. So yeah, my ego got a little stroked. It was nice.
So was it confidence or arrogance? You're like, of course it's fucking good. Why wouldn't it be good?
No, actually, I didn't think that at all.
No,
it was cool. It was nice. And apparently Melissa is wanting to come on. So get with her.
Oh, really? Okay.
She said she's one of us, and you have to tell her when she's going to be on. So do that.
Okay. Well, and you know what? And bringing up that we do have, and I'll touch base with her this week and make sure that we're good. But then Ashley from Sober Girl podcast wants to come on
Mhm.
again because she
Cool.
wanted to. The one thing she wanted to talk about because I think I know that we mentioned it towards the end of the episode because we ran out of time. But her dad had passed
Mhm.
away a couple years ago, maybe 3 at the
Mhm.
most. So dealing with and living with that grief, now a couple years later, and I'm like, well, yeah, we're still, of course, in sort of in the thick of that thing, but her anniversary is also coming up on April 2nd or 3rd, April 3rd.
Mhm.
So I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. Her anniversary than ours is. So she had said, I'm like, yeah, let me know because like April is completely open for us, but
Mhm.
it's possible because I'm thinking that, so your anniversary is on that Saturday that I'm going to be out there.
Right.
So I would think we'd probably want to, I'd rather record. It's up to you, but I think it'd be better for us to record on Saturday because then,
Mhm.
actually it's after your anniversary. And then
Right.
if she's available, maybe we can have her on that day because I think that Saturdays were like the best day. We recorded with her on a Saturday last time.
Mhm.
But we were talking about possibly doing like kind of like a grief and gratitude type of episode, which I thought would be interesting. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, so
Book it, Dano.
yeah, so I gotta fucking Melissa. I'm gonna love telling her what to do. Hey, woman.
Yep. Good luck with all that.
I know. I'm laughing just saying it. And Melissa's a good shit, but yeah, I wouldn't play with her. She's little too. I mean, little-ish, but yeah,
right.
I wouldn't fuck with her.
Straight for your balls.
Yeah, I know. Let me just write that down to get her scheduled. Okay, yeah, I'll reach out to her. Cool.
Yeah. So anyway, it was good, and Michelle had posted that after all was said and done, we cleared over $11,000 for the Keating Center that night. So,
oh my God, really? That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. And and so everyone knows the Keating Center, they rely on these fundraisers. I mean, that's part of what they're into. A few other things, more so than when we were there. I believe some more different outside influences, let's call them. But they were straight up at the time we were there. They didn't have any no insurances, no grants, no nothing like that. Everything that at the time we were there was literally fueled by donations and these events. That's how they kept the doors open. So, and us, obviously once you go 3/4 of your work and you're paying rent, you're doing these things. But actually
but it was pure seventh tradition shit when we were there.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, it was great. So cool. But yeah, it's kind of funny. Not that I forgot about it because I saw all the pictures, but I'm glad you brought that up. But so, I mean, everything went cool. We had the horse in the race and all that. That was kind of fun. Yeah.
Yep. Mr. Horse did not win.
No, sir. I don't like that.
Nope.
But no, that was fun. I mean, we're able to do these things, and like the YMCA event that we donated the basket, and now we've done a couple of things now. This one, and then one other one we did for the golf outing. The golf outing, we had donated something, and then did I know a bunch of business cards. Our business cards went in the basket, but then I don't know.
Yeah.
Things like this are cool. It's just an opportunity. I mean, granted, our name's on it. It gets us some publicity, but it feels good to give back now that we're doing something like this, to actually be able to give back and have a forum to talk about this stuff. And your radio gig, we talked about that quite a bit. So I don't know.
All doing that again this summer. We've got the golf outing for the Keating Centers coming up in June again, I believe. I don't know. As it gets closer, we'll promote that too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, all that stuff's cool. So last weekend, also, at Ollie's birthday party, it was a couple of things in general. First of all, it was, because it was past Appleton, so it was almost, it was heading towards Green Bay. So that
Canada,
yeah, yeah, there, hey, but so no, I mean, back and forth. I mean, it's it's not a big deal. It's 8 hours of driving, but I mean, well worth it. I would have driven twice that just to be there.
Sure.
Because even Kimmy was saying, she's like, I can't believe you guys were even going to come. I'm like, I wouldn't have missed it for the world,
Right.
But it was cool. They had it, it's like 2-hour thing. Her, like some of her family were there. People I hadn't seen in a little bit. Like her brother was there with his wife. I'd never met I did meet his wife before. Their youngest daughter was there, who I think she was God, she wasn't even born the last time I saw her brother. I'm sorry, Kimmy's mom, Pam, that's her brother. So Kimmy's uncle. But then Kimmy's aunt Dawn. So Pam's sister Dawn was there with her husband. I've met both of them before. Some other, a bunch of different people were there. And then Dawn was there. Corey was there. Derek was there. My son, Derek. His girlfriend, Katie, was there. Pam was there. Peyton was there, our newest, youngest listener. So I was talking to them a little bit, and it was funny. So this is the one part. Well, first of all, it was just great. It was wonderful. Everyone was there. It was fabulous. You know, but
great picture of the young man with pizza.
So here's the funny part is that they're feeding him some solid foods every once in a while.
Sure.
And then, you know, when she had mentioned the pizza, I'm like, oh, I got to get a picture of that. So I did. He was sitting there and he put it in his mouth and he started to turn away. I hit like 4 pictures real fast. That was the best one, you know, out of those. But I'm like, oh, I'm definitely posting that one because again, you know, my grandson, you know, shoving his face full of pizza.
Right.
and your comment too, and then Kimmy's like, yeah, he's too young to know. It's not a Friday. Oh, it's great though. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But so I'm talking to Pam a little bit, and then once again for everyone, that's my daughter's mom, my first ex-wife. And again, Peyton was there, her daughter. We talked about her. So we're going back and forth about this whole story with her ordering the coffee and listening. And I told Pam, you know, what I had said on the podcast. I'm like, as soon as we're going back and forth in these texts, I said, you know, and then I'm like, I'm talking to Pam. I'm like, then that you said that you're listening. And I'm like, I told Mike this on our podcast. I'm like, I had to sit back and figure out if I said anything bad about you. And she looks at me and I just started laughing. And I'm like, and she's like, what? And I said, no, I haven't. I said, but I told her, I said, here's the deal. And I said, I told Dawn this, and I even told Kimmy this, and I told Derek this. I will tell my stories. Yes, you're going to be involved at a certain point, but I said, I'm not going to share your side of the story because it's not my place. I'll share my part. If you happen to be in it, it's just that you were there. And I told her, I'm like, obviously I've talked about the fact that about when, you know, we didn't get along and things like that. But I said, I've never delved into that. And she's like, oh, and you know what she says to me? She's like, you're such a good man.
No.
and I don't know if I rolled my eyes like,
I'm sure you did,
but
to the back of your skull.
Oh, I know, because in my head I'm like, oh my God, no, I'm not. I've learned some things, you know, and
right.
I wouldn't.
We're better men,
right? But yeah, right. She's just like, you know, you're a good man. I'm just like, oh my God. I'm like, okay, you know, thumbs up, cool. But I was just like, kind of rolling my eyes at it. But then I was telling her the same thing. I'm like, with Peyton listening, what we were talking about, I'm like, you know, we were kind of like, God, but she's listening. And Peyton's like, oh, don't worry. I've got a good sense of humor. And I said, it's not your sense of humor I'm worried about. Like, we get a little mouthy on there. She's like, I've heard it all. I'm like, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So then I think Pam had walked away, and I was talking to Dawn and Corey. So then, of course, my other ex-wife and her husband, who I get along with everyone, all of them really well. And I asked Dawn, I said, has Corey ever met Pam before? And she's like, no, you know, they would have never had any reason to. And I said, oh, okay, so I'll introduce. So Pam was kind of walking back. I'm like, hey, come here. So she comes over, and I'm like, I said, Corey, I said, this is the first one that dumped me. I said, this is my first ex-wife. And she slaps me and shakes his hand. And then I pointed to Dawn. I said, that's the second one that dumped me. But I'm like, you know her already. And then Dawn just, here's the best part. Dawn rolls her eyes and kind of laughed. She walks in there. They're kind of standing about, I don't know, 3-4 feet apart, you know, kind of looking at each other. So Dawn walks up to her and gives Pam a high five. It was
we both escaped.
Yeah, it was fucking awesome. So I got both my ex-wives there high-fiving for dumping my ass. It was nice. It was fucking perfect. Because, you know, the thing of it is, and I mean, obviously we all get along now, and they were laughing their asses off. I was laughing. It was wonderful. But I'm like, that was the best thing, Dawn. A couple of steps, high five. It was just great. It was great. But yeah, we had a good time. But it was like, you know, kind of like it was some years ago when we were at one of Derek's birthday parties, when kind of like a whole
Mhm.
mix of family, and that's kind of what it was, and it just but all there, the same deal, everyone comes together, all the shit's been mended, all the shit's been put
Mhm.
aside, and all of us can be there and celebrate this one little person,
Right.
or at that time years ago was a 12-year-old little boy, or whatever he was at the time. And it just, that all the different things that we talk about, that's what this shit's about, you know
Absolutely.
I mean, all these things that we do, and all the bitching we do, and the complaining we do, and the life on
Mhm.
life's terms.
Mhm.
But that's why we do it, right? I mean, that's
Right.
that's what this is for.
Yeah. Yeah. So we can heal all that shit and get on with it and be there for the people that are important.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
never. First of all, and I actually thought about this on the way up there, because the short story is that we were all supposed to ride up together. Me, Kathy, Kylie, and Caleb were supposed to ride up there together, but then
Mhm.
Kathy was trying to get somebody to. Well, first of all, boarding the dogs would have been some ridiculous amount of money. They wouldn't have
Mm.
done it for one day. She would have had to have them there for two, and it was going to be like ungodly an amount of money, a stupid amount of money.
Mm.
So she's like, I'm not doing that. And she was trying to get see if one of her friends, could just stop by and let the dogs out, because I wanted to
Right.
leave at like 9:30 at the latest, because I wanted to get up there. I wanted to get up there like at 2, because
Mhm.
figuring that if Kimmy and Brian needed any help, which as it turned out they did, I ended
Mhm.
up there. They were getting themselves ready. I was hanging out with Ali. I ran up to the grocery store to grab something for him, and I just that's why I wanted to get there early.
Right.
But Kathy's like, she's like, I can't leave the dogs, for 14 hours or something like that. And I'm
Mhm.
like, I get that. But I said, I'm going to do this. And she's like, that's fine. She goes, we can drive, separately. So we loaded up the sewing machine in Kathy's car. They drove
Mm.
up, they left at like 11:30, got there right on time. It was cool.
Mhm.
So everyone got to be there. But on my way up, I was kind of thinking about that. I'm like, this is kind of, I mean, I was almost thinking in my head, weird but super cool. I mean, how
Mhm.
lucky is I mean,
Mm.
both of my ex-wives, get to be involved with this little man, and
Right.
I don't know that I don't know. I hope that Dawn looks at him, with the same concept in her head that that's her grandson too. Even though
Mhm.
it's removed, but
Right.
that's kind of how this. I don't know. Like I said, Derek used to call his brother Alec, who was from Dawn's first son from Dawn's first marriage.
Mhm.
His grandparents, Derek has called them grandma and grandpa
Mhm.
forever.
Right.
And
Right.
I would want nothing but the same thing, for Ali to consider Corey and Dawn to be a grandma and grandpa also.
Mhm.
But it's
Mhm.
just again, that's what all this shit is for, I guess, was my kind of my main point. It made me
Right.
feel really, really good.
Right. Yeah.
So
Brimming with gratitude, man.
yeah.
Feels fucking great.
Oh, it is. It's just, I'm sitting there trying to put it into words, and I'm like, I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
fucking know.
Yeah. It's just it's all wonderful, and it's in large part because you got your shit together, pulled your head out of your ass.
Right.
Uh-huh. Yeah, well, yeah. Drunken fucking Grandpa Bill showing up. Yeah, that'd have been fun. I'm sure everybody would have loved that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don would have been there. I don't think so. Oh fuck, Bill's gonna be there. No thanks. Pam
Right.
would have had to have been there, but she wouldn't have fucking been happy about it.
Right.
Yeah. It would have been a goddamn mess.
Well, and I mean, we could
Yeah.
even think back to that point that none of this would have ever even happened.
Right.
Because I mean, I don't mean the fact that he wouldn't have been born, but I never would have reconciled with Kimmy.
Mm-hmm.
Derek and Kimmy probably would have met at some point, because I'm sure that Dawn would have made that happen at some point, but certainly
Mm-hmm.
not when they did. Um,
Right.
and I wouldn't have been. I mean, I wouldn't have been at her wedding. I wouldn't have known Brian. I wouldn't have. There's no way.
Nope.
None of this would have happened.
Nope.
None of it.
Nope. Nope.
This is kind of back to A Wonderful Life, where what would happen if George wasn't alive?
Mm-hmm.
What would happen if Bill didn't get sober? Let's do
Right.
that movie.
Let's not.
Yeah, right. Because that movie would be about 14 minutes long, because in 3
Mm-hmm.
weeks I would have been dead anyhow. Movie over.
Exactly.
What a sick fucking thing to laugh at. But hey, it is the truth.
It is the truth, and thankfully we can laugh at it today.
Right. But you know what? I was listening back to, I don't know, lately when I do those drives like that, I've been listening to, every once in a while I'll pop into one of our old episodes. I get drawn into Mom's episode still, and the one that we did after that. And there was one other, I can't remember the other episode, but you were talking about when you were talking about the atheist part. Oh, I know what I did. I went all the way back and I listened to, I think I listened to episode, I listened to episode 4. I don't remember why I was listening to that one. Maybe somebody had brought it up or commented on it. But anyhow, that's when you were talking about when you brought up the fact that you're atheist and your concept of love, and you were talking about when your granddaughter was born, and the little, blonde and this, blue-eyed little thing looking at you. And it was funny how you explained it, but also the fact that because she turned 2 while we were in the Keating Center, right?
Yeah. 3 weeks after I got there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's the only birthday I've ever missed.
Oh, okay. But I mean, so same type of thing. So you were in the process of, kind of getting your shit back together, obviously at that point, and then just look at how, I mean, the life you've been able to build, with her, with her and your daughter and all that stuff. It's crazy, so.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it really, really is. Absolutely really is. So I think that was it on you good on last weekend with the charity event. That's awesome. We're kind of a big deal from what I got out of that part. So I know that. And
we've got some people listening to us and apparently enjoying it.
So we're a big deal. And because of that, the Keating Center raised $11,000. That's what I caught.
Exactly.
I expect a thank you note from Marty.
Right.
Marty, thank you note. Okay.
Piece of 4-day-old fried chicken.
You know what? I haven't had fried chicken in a while just because it gives me heartburn.
Yeah, really.
It gives me heartburn every once in a while, but no. So, but that, yeah, and then Ollie's birthday and all of it. It was all good. It was super cool. It was really, really cool. Oh, I know what I was going to tell you. I listened to, and this is again these episodes I'm listening to. I pop in and out of the Sober podcast, but also obviously, I listen to Marin. It's a Joan Jett interview from probably 5 years ago.
Okay. Yeah, I probably listened to it because that was when I was out on the road. So I was listening to pretty much everything he was doing then because I had the time.
So and for the life of me, I can't remember if it's her manager. It's a dude that he was also in the interview, and I can't remember his name. He's been with her forever.
Yeah, it's her manager.
Yeah, they're not. He's married. They're not, because Mark actually has that right away. He's like, you guys are together. They're like, we've never been together.
Right.
It's just kind of funny. Okay, but I mean, she had and I knew some of the backstory, probably more so from you with the runaways and all that stuff, and hearing things back and forth. But she's just it was a great interview, because then I'm thinking about it, I'm like, and we get to fucking see her this summer too.
Yeah.
And she was, I think that she's got to be, is she pushing 65? She's got to be.
Yeah.
That was, I think it said she was 60. So we're going to be, because Lita wasn't she like 65 when we saw her, or 60?
Yeah.
Yeah. Figure what 5?
Well, you figure they were 78. They were like 16 or 17. So yeah, whatever. It's math. I'm tired. I can't do any math right now.
But no, I mean, it was good. It was a good interview, and it was just, she was talking about whatever they were doing. She's like, yeah, we're going to play a festival with this, and we've been playing with this person and doing that person, and she had actually talked about Pat Smear from the Foo Fighters, because he played I guess a couple of
from
things.
The Germs.
Yeah, and so she had mentioned him. Yeah, back from that, and I'm like, God, that's kind of fucking cool, because now it kind of kind of pieced all together. She's talking about all these. They were going to, at that point, some festival they're going to play with Cheap Trick. That's what it was, because she said that they've known them and played with them for years, and and then she was talking about some of the people that had actually opened for her. These big names, and for the life of me, I should have just wrote it down. Again, I listened to some of the stuff in the background. I don't know. It was it was a great story. It was a good interview.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, she's there's a good documentary on her too. I saw it the Cleveland Film Festival 5 years ago, something like that. Yeah, I'm sure it's out there somewhere. Just Google Joan Jett documentary. It's a good one.
Right. And you know what? Now that you say that, they might have he might have referenced that, or she might have referenced
Mm-hmm.
that. But yeah, it was just kind of fun because I was just, I mean, he's got I mean, again, this is from like 5 years ago, and it's somewhere in
Mm-hmm.
the like the 900s or something like that as far as episodes. But I mean, he's been doing it for fucking ever, and for two a
Right.
week and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I just there's a lot of people on there. I'm like, yeah, that'd be interesting to listen to. Then I come across a couple. I'm like, oh fuck yeah. So she was just one of them. I'm like, yeah, I want to listen to that one. But
Yep.
and that was just a good one. Oh, let me see here. But yeah, I was just kind of I can't wait to that concert too. I think I think it'll be a lot of fun. Obviously, Foo Fighters are wonderful, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've obviously seen Joan Jett before, haven't you, or no?
No, I haven't.
Really?
Yep.
God, maybe you told me
No.
that already, but that's awesome. Okay, so that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Right. Nah, I've seen Sherry Curry and I've seen Lita Ford a bunch of times, but never seen Joan.
Nice. Well, that's cool. And you never
Yep.
saw the Foo Fighters before, right?
Nope.
Ah, see, this will be all fresh and wonderful for you, man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just be prepared. Again, I'm probably going to be like the last time. Like I told you all about that. I just sat there.
Right.
I
You've seen the footage of the teenage girls screaming for the Beatles. It'll be like that.
You mean you?
Yeah, no, you.
And I didn't
wet panties.
right throwing my wet panties up on stage, and
Mm-hmm.
but no, it was such a
Dave.
Dave. You know what? It was a great concert. I don't even mind getting made fun of on that one. So
Good.
I'm cool with it. All right. So man, I had a lot of little things on here, but this one I have to bring up because I think you'll get a kick out of this. So
Right.
that I've been on dating apps off and on for years.
Mm-hmm.
And actually a few of I mean, there's been a lot of, nice, I've met really good, decent people. I haven't really had a bad experience with a dating app. I've never like walked in someplace and, had a bad experience or, matched with somebody that's been horrible. So
Right.
all the tragedy that happens, and people talk about, again, it's you're swiping through hundreds, it seems, until you can match with somebody. But anyhow, but this is how my love life is going lately. I inadvertently matched with an escort.
Ah.
So here's the thing.
Inadvertently, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
I didn't see. It's like, oh, this chick's an escort. Swipe. So,
Uh-huh.
and it wasn't even on. You think it might be on like Tinder or one of the other ones, But do you know what Bumble is? Did you ever sign up for that one?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the one. Yeah, where the females have the control.
Correct. So
Yes.
and I've met, I think I connected with, I can't remember who now. There's at least one other person that, it was a good connection that I had at one point. But yeah, the whole point there, you can swipe on them, but then they swipe on you. And once you match, it's still up to them. They have like 24 hours to message you or the match goes away, So same deal though. I mean, it's the same thing as Tinder. You just, you swipe left to go the wrong way, swipe right to, hope that maybe they match with you. And her cover picture, her, like first picture, she's blonde, she's attractive, looks normal. So, and I don't remember sometimes I'll scroll all the way up just to see where the person's located. In this area, obviously a lot of people in Chicago, which is fine, but it's fucking Chicago, from a distance standpoint. But she was, somewhere in Illinois, whatever. But I figured, whatever. I swipe on a bunch of things. Then I get a match and I look. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm like, oh, that was that chick. So I start looking through this, and then it's like the second or third picture, which I think I just kind of scrolled up all the way to the bottom. Second or third picture, kind of her laying in this blue light on a bed, with a t-shirt on and stuff like that.
Wasn't it a red light?
No, it was blue. It wasn't. Yeah, that's the thing. You would think
Is her name Roxanne?
It was not. I was surprised.
Okay. Okay.
She had to turn
just
on.
Just making sure.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like this blue lighting in this room. I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird. So then the next picture, it's her in these fucking monster, like huge fucking heels, in a standing next to a pole. I'm like, oh, okay. like, stripper pole in, like in her residence, which that's a thing now too. That's actually an exercise thing.
Yeah.
Had no idea,
Right.
Until 6-8 months ago, whatever it was. Then the next picture, again, I'm like, oh fuck. And then like the picture after that, it's a picture of like another profile where the, like whatever her handle is on there, like her at whatever type of handle, kind of like an Instagram handle. And then this little thing says available. And I'm like, oh fuck. Like, is this chick a fucking escort? And then I'm like, I scroll another one, and it's again not super, that's like naked or anything, but I'm like, these are like weird pictures, So I copy the handle name and I Google it. Sure as fuck. Schaumburg, Illinois, escorts, got this chick's name, this and that, her OnlyFans page, and all this different shit. And I'm like, fuck me. Then I'm like, I'm about ready to unmatch it. I'm like, oh, I'm fucking unmatching this. I'm like, this is going to make a great fucking story. I said, first of all, the fact that I matched with an escort, but on top of that, I'm like, please God, let her respond. I can't even wait to see what she propositions me with. And she didn't. The fucking match expired. I'm like, God damn it. But that's why I said inadvertently. It was not on purpose, but I was like, fuck, man, it just would have made for such a better story had I been able to have a better conversation with, or any conversation with her. But
sure.
Yeah,
right.
So,
well, you had your credit card in your hand. You were ready to go.
Right. Where do you swipe this, honey? Right there? It's the chip. Let me just insert it right there. Yeah, there you go.
That's right.
So, yeah, for all you ladies out there, that's the quality that I'm picking up. So, did I mention I'm single?
Yep.
Did I mention I'm single? And I ain't paying for it. If you're an escort, leave me alone. I made it to age 54 without having to pay for it. I'm not starting today. So, maybe tomorrow.
Right.
Not today.
Not today, man.
Hang on 1 second here. I think there was one other one that I had on here that. I know this came from another podcast. They were talking about, and obviously both of us have social media, Facebook, and all that sort of stuff. And I know that you were on, and I don't remember, were you on Facebook before you got sober? I know you were on MySpace prior.
Yeah, about a year or so. I didn't do much on it because MySpace was still happening
right
at that point. So I was on there more. But yeah, I was actually. I will occasionally get a memory will pop up from 13 years ago, and it'll be in all caps, and it'll be some stupid shit. Yeah, short, brief, whatever. Just complaining about something or something. I don't know. Yeah, I was. So anyway, go ahead.
And that was
your point? What's your point, man?
That could be the subtitle of our entire podcast every time. So what's your fucking point, right, man?
So what's the fucking point of this thing?
What's your fucking point? So my point, it's not even a point. My question was exactly, you kind of answered it. So you get memories every once in a while. Does it ever, and that's what they were talking about, every once in a while getting, and I wasn't on Facebook before, so I don't have this happen, but does it ever kind of, I don't know, and I don't want to say bum you out because I don't think you're a bummed out type of guy when it comes to that.
Right.
But when you look at stuff like that, does it make you shake your head? You're like, God damn, I can't believe I was like that. Any reaction to memories like that from those old pictures?
There's one, and it pops up every year, and it's, it might be popping up soon or maybe already, I don't know. It was like a couple of months before I got sober. And it was just, I don't even remember. It was something about me being all over the road and get the fuck out of my way or something like that, which was it was actually a brief moment of honesty. Yes, I was all over the road and out of control, and you probably should have been out of my fucking way because I was a mess.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, and actually, I think one of the only comments on it was from Amber's mom, Sherry. She was all, our kids are on that road, and it was just, yeah, and that one hits me. That's kind of the only one, and I can't remember if it just came up or it's about to. It may be about to.
Because it was right before I got sober.
Right.
Yep.
Well, and that's the thing that I mean, a huge part of me is really I'm glad that I wasn't on social media, but then part of me is that, and I don't know if this is going to seem stupid. Part of the reason that I want to, and I still have it, I've got it written on this sheet, dude. It's just on like a running sheet. I still want to get our pictures from when we first went into the Keating Center, because I think it'd be great, for people to see that. I'd like to post it on Instagram. That's number one, because I think I think it'd be interesting for people. I see people do these things, but I want to see what the fuck it looked like, and I haven't seen. I can look back at pictures, that were like when Dawn and I were together and the kids were little, and you see things from different holidays, and I knew I was drinking at the time, but I just don't, unless I haven't. Maybe I just haven't seen them yet. I haven't seen a lot of pictures where I'm like, oh fuck, I know. There's one picture with, Kathy and I know where we were at. We were at Blues Fest, and I was with her roommate was there, and I think I posted that one before and showed you. I'm sitting there fucking loaded, got my arms around this blonde chick, who, by the way, was not my wife. And nothing ever happened with her, but I'm loaded and acting a fool, and you could see it in my eyes, and that was my tell, if you want to call it that. It just Dawn always knew that. She could tell by my eyes, but that was, I mean, shit. I was like 25.
Right.
But I mean, again, that was a situation. That was a party situation. I'm talking, like pictures. I haven't seen ones where, like, within the last year. But then again, I didn't spend a lot of time around people.
Right.
So I really wasn't in a position to have my picture taken a lot.
Right.
So, yeah. But which, I mean, part of me is thankful for, and this is the weird part that I was going to, starting to get into before, is that part of me really wants to see that. I want to feel, if nothing else for myself, to feel some of that. I don't know, maybe even be embarrassed by those pictures. And that's that constant
shame.
Reminder. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the word you're looking for. You want to feel some of that shame.
Yeah.
You want to remember what a piece of fucking shit we were. Yeah.
and I know that for a lot of people that are listening to us, I know everyone talks about that, get over your shame and don't live your shame. Once again, Mike and I have our way of doing things. It's worked for almost 13 years. So we're not telling anyone.
That's straight out of the big book, man.
Right.
We don't want to dwell on the past, but we do not want to close the door on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I
don't want to stare at the fucking picture all day long, every day.
Right.
No, but I want to remember that it's there. Yeah. I've got, there's 2 pictures of me. We had gone to, my daughter and her mom and I had gone to see the New York Dolls. And I got fucking blasted, loaded. I think I got kicked out. I know we definitely had to leave because of me, and didn't get to meet the band afterwards. And and there's a picture of me in my room, in the room that I fucking had the end of my nonsense in. And there's a picture of me all blurry-eyed, droopy-eyed, flipping off the camera, and one of me probably just moments later passed out on the bed. That was hell, 9 months before I got sober, something like that. So I got a couple of real good pictures of that. I'll share them with you sometime.
Well, you know what? And I think the one of you passed out on the bed. I think you showed us or a group or me that one. I think I remember seeing that one. Maybe even the one flipping off. Those two sound familiar. But you're right. I mean, and again, what I was going to say is a lot of people are like, don't want to see the shame and don't like shame or whatever. But this helps. And like you said, straight out of the big book. I mean, it's what we were taught. And granted, different story. I'm not going to grab a picture of like that. I'm going to sit in my bedroom all day.
I'm not framing it and hanging it over my desk.
Yeah, it's not. I'm not going to live and wallow in my shame. But yeah, I want to feel that. And
yeah, absolutely.
If I can look at a picture like that and not feel something, then that's a problem. Well, shit, you remember when we had Kathy on, and that story she told about Christmas, that year, that whatever that was, that 15 minutes that was fucking painful, to listen to. And it hurt. It didn't hurt me, but it hurt to listen to it, because then I'm looking back at you look back at the pain and the, I don't know, the shit that you cause other people. But I don't want to, if I could listen to something like that and not feel that uncomfortable pain, there's a fucking problem,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You got to have the fucking empathy for the pain that you caused others.
Right.
Yeah. You have to.
Right. Yeah. Last thing, because I see we're getting a little long here, but so I went and got my pizza today, and it just this made me think of, because we were thinking about, I'm thinking of that story and the fact of how much I was drinking. But I pull on to Kathy's Street after I got my pizza. And, there's that house right on the corner as you take a right, where the stop sign is, like right onto her street, and then you kind of go up that little incline. There's the dude at that corner house, and I see them out every once in a while. But as I'm driving by, the guy's standing in his garage is open, standing in his garage, so he's standing up, head tilted back, drinking something. Got this fucking thing tipped all the way up, and has it up for however long it took me to drive by, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and then finally pulled it down. I'm like, I couldn't see what it was, but I'm like, that dude just fucking pounded a beer. and at this point, it's, I don't know, it's 5:15, 5:30, whatever it was.
Sure.
Dude probably just got home, snapped, grabbed a beer and just fucking downed it. And I was laughing.
Shotgun that motherfucker.
Oh, I was fucking laughing. Because I'm like, I'm not laughing at him. I'm just like, man, that was fucking neat. I could almost drink towards the end there. When I get home from work, that's the first thing I did. I take my coat off, pop a beer. I would have that beer done like right away when I walked in. I'd slam that one.
Oh, yeah.
And then open another one and then go get changed,
Oh, yeah.
So it's not judging the dude, man. I don't know. I'm sure.
Right.
I'm not sure, but he probably gets up every morning. He probably takes care of his kids. He's probably a decent human being.
He probably shotgunned that beer, went inside, and took 2 hours to drink 2 more. Freak.
Yeah. Or maybe just had that one and then, just went and had a cup of fucking coffee. I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, that was just that popped into my head with that. But no, seriously, just back to that shame thing. Yeah, you're exactly right. And I couldn't figure out what I was trying to say, but thank you. Yeah, I do. I want to feel that shame and that pain. So that's, looking at those pictures and even just thinking about some of these things and hearing those stories. It's important for me to, like you said, I don't ever want to forget, man. Tell me the stories.
Right. Yeah. There's no point in dwelling on it, because we've moved on and we have this wonderful life where you get to be with this extended family with your grandson, and it's fucking beautiful. But right. Gotta remember where we came from, man.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's speaking of that with Pam too, because the last time I saw her, she had I don't know wherever Kimmy and Brian went, but if you remember, Pam had babysat for Ollie during the day, and then I came in, got there like 5, whatever, and so we hung out for a little bit. I bought her dinner from the Chinese restaurant up the road, and we sat there and had some dinner, and then she headed home. So she told me then, she's like, I owe you dinner. I'll cook you dinner sometime. When are you going to be up here next? And I said, I don't know. We'll figure it out. And again, this is probably 6 months ago, So when we were saying our goodbyes and stuff like that, I was giving her a hug, and I said, so when the fuck are you going to cook me dinner? And she's like, when are you going to come up here? I'm like, fuck, man, I got to haul my ass all the way up here too. And she's like, if I'm going to cook for your ass, you can haul your ass up here.
Yep.
So this is my ex-wife from 25, 30 years ago. So no, she's a good shit. But yeah, what are you gonna fucking cook for me, woman?
Yeah, you're still a dick.
I know. But I love the fact that I could fuck around with her like that. It's I don't know. I enjoy it. She's a good shit. I adore her. I really do. But I like fucking with her too.
Yep.
So, all right, man. I think we're good.
I think so.
Let me check out my list here. Little Dickie, talked about that. What was that? Who was that? Miss
P Galore.
P Galore. and then Mrs. Little Dickie. Okay, I think we caught all that.
Yep.
And then all the good stuff.
Yep, and all the good stuff.
Yeah, so no.
And look at that. We filled fucking almost an hour and a half, and we didn't need anybody.
Really? Yeah.
Except each other.
Right. Yeah. Well, you know me. I could probably have a conversation for an hour just talking to the wall. But no, you know what? Hey,
and you used to.
Right. But hey, if anyone wants to hear the difference in this, I still think it's funny because I've only listened to. My episode was episode number 1. Mike's is number 3. Number 2, we did kind of some outtake stuff, but I've only listened to my episode a couple of times where I told my story, and it's only 15 or 20 minutes long. It's not that long because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how long we were going to talk. But so if anyone wants to get a laugh, go back and listen to it. Literally, I think I sound like some fucking idiot from NPR because I'm just sitting there in my living room by myself and kind of, telling this story off of it. It was based off the Keating Center article that I wrote. I used that as my outline because I'm like, I don't know what the fuck to do. I'm just going to do this. But no, I mean, now I think I would do different. I'd be more comfortable doing it, but I was mildly uncomfortable because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I didn't know what I want to talk about. But yeah, it just it literally had like no personality to it in my opinion. But I don't know.
Right.
Just,
so we've grown.
Yeah, we have a little bit, but
a little bit.
All right, man. I think I don't know. Fuck it, we're good, right?
I know I'm good, man.
All right. Well, you know what? Then do what you fucking do.
All right, then. Well, thank you, everyone, for listening to another episode of Sober Not Mature. As always, be kind to each other, be good to each other, do something nice for somebody else this week. Thank you for everyone that came out to the Keating Center fundraiser. We do appreciate it. Thank you for all of you people, seriously, for listening to this crap. Because we, it was really nice to hear that, you know what, somebody is enjoying this thing. We do appreciate it. We are grateful. And now, enough of that nonsense. As always, please, 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 fuck off. Then keep fucking off. Keep fucking off until you get to a gate with a sign on it saying you cannot fuck off past here. Climb over that gate. Dream the impossible dream and keep fucking off forever, or at least until next week.
Just don't fuck off any farther than don't fuck off too far because you got to come back next week.
Because we will be back.
Yeah. And if you fucked off too far, then we got to walk up there to meet you. So get your fucking ass back here next week.
Right. You got to drive all the way up there for a fucking dinner. Jesus.
Oh, but I thought that was kind of funny. You're like, yeah, enough of this happy. Usually you say like happy crap, but you said enough of this shit or whatever you said. Oh, but no, I mean, again, I always like it. And yeah, I'm just gonna second what you said. We appreciate all you people out there. It's the term we hate the most, you people, but it is. It's all. This is used in a nice way. All you people out there, we dig every one of you. So
yes, we do.
All right, well. Brother, I love you, and I know we'll talk soon.
I love you too. We'll talk to you again.
All right, man. Bye.
Bye.
As always, thank you for listening to another episode of Sober, Not Mature. To access all of our content and interact with us, please visit our website, SoberNotMature.com. Thank you again for listening, and we will talk to you soon.